Not everything must be beautiful and good. You need to apply some damage to your brain with our game. Thank you very much.
So here's some stuff that you might not know about Escape from Tarkov, coming to you from the press pass guy in game in case you needed to see some credentials. Each of these topics have been discussed in some length as planned additions to the game. If BSG had all the time, money, and capability to make the game exactly how they wanted, then these features would be included and still planned to be, but any of these could be cut for any number of reasons, including server and tech capabilities, or time, or whatever, like we have recently seen with Steam Audio. Steam Audio did not work, so they tried to find something new, and they are still working on it. It's that kind of setup. Now, I have been asking for an updated list of features from them while they're on this hot streak of changes and feedback, so we'll see what happens. Today's topic for this is the server setup after launch. Generally speaking, how the game is going to work after launch, because it is going to be very different than how we've experienced it so far. As explained in the past by Nikita Buyanov, the lead developer of the project, this is how this should work. There will be two universes of the game that do not overlap, meaning you won't be able to send money or see your friends' characters or anything like that across these two universes. They are not connected whatsoever. In one universe, it will wipe periodically, possibly every 4 months or so, potentially seen as seasons. In the other, the game will never wipe. You will have a USEC and a bear for each server, meaning 4 PMCs total. And as far as I know, Nikita hasn't mentioned how this will work specifically, so I could be wrong here, but I think all will tie somehow into a single account for Arena. I don't think it makes sense to have multiple accounts in Arena, and it will be tied to a base Escape from Tarkov account, while that base Escape from Tarkov account is split into these universes with the 4 PMCs, so I think it all ties into a single Arena account. The balance of the economy for XP earned, quest rewards, money, and more will be unique to each universe. They want it to make sense for each, while if you try to balance them equally, it's just not going to make any sense. So it should ideally be the best of all worlds, where it just makes sense based off of the ecosystem of how this game works. If you think there is something missing from this equation, then let me know, because chances are I either forgot to mention it or you missed it in my explanation. But if it is an oversight, I will bring it up with BSG. So with all of that put together, we think the game will essentially play about the same, but BSG have mentioned the idea of having there be some differences for the persistent, aka the non-wipe universe, as they clearly value the non-wipe universe over the periodical wipe universe. In reality, the wipes needed to happen for development. At the beginning, wipes were never intended to be part of the game, but people just like it, so now they're going to try and keep them. Although I do not think this will happen, I think if BSG had to make the choice between which setup to stick with, I think that they would choose the no wipe approach. I think they think that's the best way forward, although I must admit I fully disagree. I love the race at the beginning of wipes, but when you take into account how they're going to have the game structured at release when it's feature complete, I will agree at that point that it does make sense for that, which is the topic of several videos that I've already made, but I'm going to go back over these topics over the next few weeks. However, TLDR, there will be several ways for you to escape from Tarkov, through earning the trust of characters with power in the region and finding a way out of the area and back to the real world. In case you didn't know, this isn't a post-apocalyptic world, it's just a region of the world in particular that's locked off from the rest, so you can escape that region. So whether you escape or not, there should be ways for you to continue playing, regardless, to a limit. This is the part that can get weird because it's been discussed so little and it's nowhere near a final state yet, but it's important the discussions happen right now. Yes, you can escape from Tarkov and win, but you can also lose. Nikita has specifically mentioned in the past, you will be able to lose. Some people will fail. Now, although that win state is very clear because you just escape from Tarkov and you win, the lose state is blurry to say the least, but it could take the shape of permanent effects to your character, such as radiation poisoning, addiction to medications, and possibly even a point where you kill everyone in Tarkov with a nuke, including yourself, so you can't come back from that. That's some stuff that ties into the lore. We just don't know if that's going to actually happen or not. The current theory is at the final loss state, you would want to reset your character and start again rather than continuing to play with what you have, because your character is just going to be that screwed up. Now, I think there is some potential for BSG to allow us to keep some things, but generally speaking, yes, you would lose everything from that character when you do this reset, and yes, it will suck, but that's the point here. BSG want this game to be like that. They want us to keep that in mind as we're playing through. Cause and effect, and thinking about the future, planning your next steps, stuff like that. So I think BSG's intentions are to balance the game around that, where if we want to take it far with our characters, we can, but in reality, we should just be trying to get to the end first, while if we want PvP, we go to play arena where it's built for it. All of the tasks and things that we're doing while we're doing all of this is supposed to be there to help us escape. If you can escape from Tarkov without the rewards from going and getting that pocket watch or getting those 150-meter kills, then do it. I think that's the intentions here. A lot of this comes from inspiration from games like Stalker, but in games like Stalker, you have a save. You can go back, unless you're playing like a super hardcore mode or something like that, which would be what BSG is trying to do here with Escape from Tarkov. It's like a super hardcore mode, there's no save. And we do not know what the real answer to a save state would be, but right now we expect there won't really be one. The only thing you get to keep is whatever you have in your secure container and stash past any deaths as the sort of only save state, and yet permadeath or persistent effects can still stick. The core issue here that you might have already figured out, and in my mind, is this is around our expectations of the game, and I think in reality, we as a community are expecting the wrong kind of gameplay, essentially. I'm not saying this is bad, you play the game the way you want to play it, but what I mean is the broad sense of what we're doing here and why. Back in the day, hatchet running was all the rage because you could easily kill scavs with your melee weapons and get out with a bunch of loot, and BSG never even thought, why would you not bring a gun with you? It was an oversight, which ended up changing the game significantly because loads of people were doing hatchet runs, and it was changing the economy significantly because of it. And I think a similar thing on a much wider scale is happening here with what we expect from the game and how we are playing it right now. And again, I'm not saying this is bad. You play the game the way that you want to play it, but what I mean is, again, the full intentions of how BSG are designing and building this game. I think there's a disconnect there. I think in BSG's mind, we're supposed to want to leave that raid and finish the game. Meanwhile, we're still here looking for PvP on what should be the beginning. Maybe think of it like an elevator where the top of the building isn't finished yet, I'll give you that, but BSG are allowing us to travel up and down the floors to see what's there, except we're sitting at the bottom playing with the buttons. Maybe a few of us have gotten to the middle floors, while about 6% have gotten to that top floor, or at least the top that we're allowed to get to. I think from BSG's perspective and what they want for the game, their expectations are we will want to complete the game, and that's that, but in reality, people just like the gameplay and want to stick with it when it's not BSG's full intentions for that, and their content is planned around the story and completion of it, where when you work through that, there's possibilities of those permanent effects on your characters, which will obviously have a major effect on the people that are just trying to play the game for fun and not trying to complete the story. So while we're sitting here thinking about how permadeath and permanent effects on our characters is ridiculous and what's the point of that, BSG might be thinking, GG, go again, it's all according to plan. This subject in particular, when it comes to our expectations of the game and what we want from it, as well as what BSG are planning for it, is a subject for its own video, but I wanted to get some feedback on it first from you guys. Like I mentioned before, I think BSG's intentions are to balance the game around the story and the possibility of losing a character and starting over. Then if we want to take it far with our characters that we have, we can, but in reality, we should just be trying to get to the end first. If we want to survive, we take it slow and pay attention, while if we want PvP, we go to arena and do it there. Where specifically in arena's case, it's built for PvP in both features and in tech. In theory and in my mind, I'm confident it'll work, but let me know what you guys think in the comments on Twitter or in Discord, all found below. But that's going to be it for today, guys. If you like this video, there's a button for that. Subscribe for more like it, or jump in the comments and let me know what you think. The LFG and Squad Sherpa program is in the works to come back. Join the Discord to get involved, link below. If you like what I do with Tarkov, chances are you'll like what I do with other games, so check out those channels here. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.